Hello. Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my Altaloon streaming channel. It is another yokai stream, and tonight it is a yokai emergency. That sounds really dramatic, but really it's not. I guess it's not really an emergency. But recently in Japan, a very exciting thing that happened. I'm just going to pull up Twitter because I feel like that's how most people heard about it. So there's a rock right here. The Seishoseki, a famous rock in Nasu, Japan, that was said to have imprisoned the evil nine-tailed fox demoness Tamamo No Mae, was found broken in half. After nearly 1,000 years, the demon vixen is presumably once again on the loose. Okay, as soon as I saw this, I was like, I have been reading about yokai on my stream. I've been reading about Kitsune. I need to get into this. I need to read more. I need to learn everything. This is so exciting. I gotta find out about this. So, I don't know if I started off by saying this is my Altaloon streaming channel. I'm so pressed, oh my god, so much is happening, so I dove right into it, but this is my Altaloon streaming channel, and on my previous streams where I've talked about yokai, I've just been on this website, yokai.com. It is run by Osaru-san on Patreon, and Matthew Meyer, he writes the books. If you like this content, go support him. He does a really good job. And I'm just straight up reading from his website. But I thought we needed if you're like me, I have heard of Kitsune and fox demons, but I don't know all the Tamamo no Mae details. So that's why I wanted to learn more. But first, before I want to get into the lore, I'm going to read the news, the actual news updates. So we've got a Snopes here, and I hate this website because it has a huge picture of a spider next to it. And what is this? The Guardian. I don't know. So I'm just going to go straight into this Guardian article to see what it has to say. The headline, Japan's Killing Stone splits in two, releasing superstitions amid sulfur springs. Legend has it there is an evil spirit trapped in the Seishoseki stone. So what happens now that the stone is broken? That's what I want to know. I want to know more about Tamamo no Mae because I obviously don't know enough, but also what's going to happen now that the stone's open? What's she out there doing? The article goes on to say predictions of dark forces being unleashed by an evil vixen hung over social media in Japan on Monday after a famous volcanic rock said to kill anyone who came in contact with it was found split in two. Oh my. According to the mythology surrounding the Seishoseki, or Killing Stone, the object contains the transformed corpse of Tamamo no Mae, a beautiful woman who has been a part of a secret plot hatched by a feudal warlord to kill Emperor Toba, who reigned from 1107 to 1123. The article goes on to say, legend has it that her true identity was an evil nine-tailed fox whose spirit is embedded in the hunk of lava located in an area of Tochigi Prefecture near Tokyo, famous for its sulfurous hot springs. Its separation into two roughly equal parts, believed to have occurred within the past few days, has spooked online users who noted that, according to folklore, the stone continually spews poisonous gas, hence the name. Oh my. When the stone was said to have been destroyed and its spirit exorcised by a Buddhist monk who scattered its pieces across Japan, many Japanese prefer to believe that its home was in the slopes of Mount Nasu. Visitors in the area, a popular sightseeing spot, recoiled in horror at the weekend after witnesses posted photos of the fractured stone, a length of rope that had been secured around its circumference lying on the ground. I feel like I've seen something that shouldn't be seen, one Twitter user said in a post that attracted almost a lot of number of likes. Sorry, I'm not good at reading when it has a lot of zeros. I can't reconcile that number in my head. But anyway, continuing on. Oh, this is a picture of it broken in half right here. While others speculated that the demon spirit of Tamamo No Mae had been resurrected after almost 1,000 years, local media said cracks had appeared in the rock several years ago, possibly allowing rainwater to seep inside and weaken its structure. The stone, which was registered as a local historical site in 1957, was mentioned in Matsuo Basho's seminal work, The Narrow Road to the Deep North, and has inspired a play, a novel, and an anime film. Masuhara Sugawara, the head of the local volunteer guide group, told the Yomiuri Shimbun it was a shame the stone had been split because it was a symbol of the area, but agreed that nature had simply taken its course. So he's not terrified that a demon has gotten out. He's like, yeah, it's a nice tourist thing. Sucks that it broke. Local and national government officials will meet to discuss the stone's fate. According to the Shimotsuke Shimbun, the newspaper quoted a Nasu tourism official as saying he would like to see the Seisho Seiki restored to its original form, presumably with its demonic inhabitants sealed with it. This is crazy. I was trying to think of something that you could liken this to that we sort of have in Western culture. And it really occurred to me just now as I was reading this. I think it would be almost like if the Annabelle doll was destroyed. You know what I'm talking about, the anime doll from all the Annabelle movies. Sorry if you are scared of her. I'm just gonna pull her up really quickly. If somebody was oh no, well, let's see if we can find the real one. Because it's just a nice looking doll. If somebody, and it's it's in a little container now. So if you walk up to the Warren house and this little door is open and Annabelle was half ripped, you'd be where there was a demon in there, it got out. That's what everyone would be thinking. So I think that is the sort of general consensus to other people who saw this stone being cracked. They were what? So really quickly, before I continue on, I want to read this Snopes article too because it has some good information. Japan's killing stone, rumored to house an evil spirit, has split in half. While we can't speak to the existence of the supposed evil spirit, Seisho Seiki, the killing stone, truly did split in two in March 2022. And as of this stream, it is 3/8/2022. So I think it's happened what is this? It's from 3 days ago. So the claim, a photograph shows Japan's Seisho Seiki, the killing stone, broke it after it broke in half in March 2022. True, this did happen. Origin. In March 2022, a photograph was circulated on social media of a famous rock in Japan called Seisho Seiki, or Killing Stone, that supposedly housed an evil spirit. This picture was often attached to a caption claiming that it was recently found split in half and that the spirit named Tamamo No Mae, or Nine-Tailed Fox, has been released. Okay, Nasu's Seisho Seiki, or Killing Stone, according to the legend, the spirit of the Nine-Tailed Fox was imprisoned inside it. On March 5, 2022, it was found split in half. So this is the rumor that Snopes is confirming or denying. As for the facts, while we have nothing too concerning about the existence of the evil spirit, which is, after all, a mythical entity, we can say that the killing stone truly split in half on March 2022. Seisho Seiki is located near volcanic mountains in Nasu, Japan. According to Japanese mythology, the spirit of an evil nine-tailed fox who walked the earth in the body of Tamamo No Mae, a beautiful woman who attempted to kill Emperor Toba in the 1100s, Jisho, a Japanese English dictionary, writes, okay, the Seisho Seiki, or Killing Stone, is an object in Japanese mythology. It is said that the stone kills anyone who comes in contact with it. The stone is believed to be the transformed corpse of Tamamo No Mae, a beautiful woman who was exposed to be a kind nine-tailed fox working for an evil daimyo plotting to kill the Japanese emperor Konoe and take his throne. As told in the Otogizoshi As told in the Otogi Zoshi, I goofed it. As told in the Otogi Zoshi, when the nine-tailed fox was killed by the famous warrior Miura Nosuke, its body became the Seishoseki. Okay. Are we all getting that? Is everyone taking notes? The Japanese news website Yomiuri Shimbun reported that the killing stone split in two on March 2022. The news outlet talked to the Nassau Town Tourist Information Center, who confirmed that the stone really cracked in half. Officials said that there had been a crack in the stone for some time, and that the rain and freezing temperatures may have led to the splitting of the stone. I think we kind of read most of this. I guess I'll read through the end really quick. According to the Nassau Town Tourist Information Center, on the afternoon of the 5th, tourists posted a photo of the Seishoseki cracking on social networking services, and officials of the association confirmed it locally. The stone may have been cracked for some time, and the soaked water may have been cracked due to freezing. Got it. Masahara Sugawara, 83, chairman of the Nasu Yogen Yumoto Guide Club, a volunteer organization that provides tourist information in the surrounding area, said, quote, "It's natural, so it can't be helped, but it's a shame because it's a symbol of the local area," unquote. And this is Nick Cyper's tweet that we are actually just going to go straight up and read right now. I want to read a little bit more about this thread because he's got some interesting information and some lore down here. So, he said, we read this when we started, with the Seishoseki, a famous rock in Nasu, Japan, that was said to have imprisoned the evil nine-tailed fox demoness Tamamo No Mae, was found broken in half. After nearly 1,000 years, the demon vixen is presumably on the loose. Once again on the loose. Like, she is out there. She's out there. For reference, here's a photo of what the rock used to look like. So it was like all together with this big rope around it. And then he talks about the Seishoseki, which means the killing stone. Supposedly, the evil power of the fox demoness Tamamo No Mae was so strong that the stone would kill anyone who touched it. Here are some traditional pictures of the nine-tailed fox demoness Tamamo No Mae. So here she is in all her glory. The rays are radiating from her. That's glory if I've ever seen it depicted. Oh, and here's her cool fox form. Very nice. All her little tails back here. She's wreaking havoc on this guy. I bet he deserved it. And then here she is once again, right here in front of the moon. Nice. Here are some more recent interpretations. She looks very pretty here. Got a skull in her hand. I like that for her. Here's a hot anime girl. We love to see it. Another hot anime girl, less titty, but we still like it. And a nice little cute anime girl here. Oh, that reminds me, when we start reading the lore for real, actually, you know what? I'm going to change right now. I did acquire a special, let's leave that up because it's fun to look at. A special accessory for the evening, so I'm gonna bow out really quickly and change clothes. I'm so excited about this. Actually, I'll come leave this up and we can look at this because I'm gonna be talking about this website while I change clothes. So BRB, my face is gonna disappear, but my voice is still gonna be here. So this website it's yokai.com. I mentioned it earlier. I have gone on here twice on lives before where I just pick random yokais and read about them. And the way I've done it in the past is I'll just it's like a random number generated thing. Actually, if you look up here, it has all the names. I put the names in a list and connected it to some numbers. And I would just pull a random number and read the yokai that was associated with it, and I was going to read all 497 yokai on the site, sort of randomly generated like that. And then I saw this Tamamo No Mae news, and I was like, you know what, I'm doing a Tamamo No Mae stream. I'm going to read about her. I'm going to read about Kitsune. I'm going to do it all. So I have a bunch of Kitsune to like the ranks, like it's all here. Chiko, Tenko, Byako, Kuko, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to read about all those on this website, but we're going to start with the Tamamo No Mae story as soon as we finish the Twitter thread. And I'm going to come back right now, just a second, with my brand new accessory on. I'm so excited to show it off. I truly could not possibly be more excited for this. Hopefully it doesn't get cut off. It might actually. Okay, hold on. Let me move me down. You ready? You ready? Everyone ready to see it? I got a fox mask. Wonder how far I can see my head. Fox mask. My little Kitsune mask for the stream, for some fun. Okay, let me make myself a little smaller and raise myself a little taller, and that should be okay. This should be good, right? Am I fairly centered? This'll work, yes. So let's go back to this. Because I want to read this legend right here. Here is an English version of the Tamamo No Mae legend. Let's go. Let's get it. I'm diving right in. Killer Rock and the Nine-Tailed Fox. This is perhaps the best-known tale from the Nasu area. The fox endowed with mystical powers is a common animal in Japanese folklore. It will often take the shape of a beautiful woman. The fox in this story does so and bewitches the Emperor Toba, who reigned from 1107 to 1123. This shape changer ends up in the form of a large poisonous rock after Sadanobu shoots it with his singing arrow. These arrows had hollow heads carved to whistle as they flew. They were accorded the power to scatter evil, and the legend claims that Sadanobu received this one from a huge beehive, making it an even more sacred possession. The purification rites carried out by Genno supposedly took place much later, during the 1300s. In 1687, the famous poet Matsuo Basho visited this site and memorialized the steaming volcanic boulder in verse. Located in the hot springs area of western Nasu, Killer Rock is widely visited to this day. So that's the preface. Here's the story. This happened long ago. There was a fox whose body was the size of a calf. Its face was white and its body was covered with shining golden fur, and moreover it had 9 bushy tails. This fox had learned all sorts of evil, and it would cruelly destroy men's wives and children with its power and mysterious abilities in order to make the whole world its own. The fox strove with all its might to become a demon and rule the world. The 9-tailed fox had taken the form of a beautiful woman and received the kings of China and India. Now, extending the limits of its evil, it arrived in Japan, where it changed into a beautiful woman named Lady Tamamo and crept into the imperial court. Ah, such beauty! The Toba Emperor took one glance at Lady Tamamo and completely lost himself to her heart and soul. Oh, romantic! I feel like that's not gonna go well for him though. Oh, this is so tiny. Can I zoom in on it? Open image in a new tab. Okay, here we go. Soon, he would not leave her side even for a minute. The following happened one night during the summer of the second year of the Gen-A era. What era? Of the Gen-A era in 1119. Emperor Toba conferred high rank upon the Lady Tamamo and held the festivities in the Hall of Lofty Sunlight. When the hall had filled with people, rain suddenly poured down, and amidst the commotion a hot wind blew through the hall and extinguished the lamps. "Ah!" the court nobles cried out. The people who were petrified with fear were thrown into confusion with those who were trying to escape outside. Meanwhile, faint flames sprang forth from Lady Tamamo's entire body. These flames gradually spread and became larger, and soon their light took the shape of monstrous beasts in the night sky. The people gathered in the hall of lofty sunlight could not believe their eyes at this sudden occurrence, and because of its unearthliness, they could only stand thunderstruck where they were. I'm like, every time I've read lore stuff before, I've like stopped to comment after every sentence, like, damn, she did that, like, whoa, what a twist. And I'm really like trying to hold myself back from being like, damn, but she like burst into flame. That's kind of nuts. I know foxfire is definitely a thing. I was reading about that the last time I was reading about yokai. So is this related to the foxfire? I hope we find out. Beginning that night, the Emperor Toba fell victim to a grave illness and lay helpless in his bed. Famous physicians from throughout the land gathered around the emperor and desperately gave him treatment, but as they could not even name his illness, the sadness in the court only deepened. Living in the capital at that time was Abe no Yasunari, a famous diviner. Is it diviner or diviner? I think diviner sounds more fun, so I'm going to go that one. So living in the capital at the time was Abe no Yasunari, a famous diviner. Yasunari learned of the occurrence at the court, and because of the sudden light on the night of the banquet, he counseled the imperial regent to immediately remove the Lady Tamamo from the emperor's presence. The Lady Tamamo wept when she heard this, but I, who am loved so deeply by the emperor, how, despite that, can you be so vengeful towards me? This is honestly giving like evil stepmother who like arrives and like makes everyone's life a living hell, and then it's like in tears, I just love my husband. It's like, girl, you love his money. That's what I'm feeling. That's the vibe I'm getting so far. So, faced with Lady Tamamo's tearful protestations, why not just protests? Okay, whatever. Faced with Lady Tamamo's fearful protestations, the regent soon came to doubt Yasunari. It may just be Yasunari's misunderstanding. Let us examine things a little more thoroughly. The Lady Tamamo, completely at ease, remained at the emperor's side, and she continued to attend to him, but with even more tender care than before. However, Yasunari consulted writings from China and India, and at last perceiving the evil deeds of the nine-tailed fox, he again strove to expel the Lady Tamamo. As Yasunari continued his prayers against Lady Tamamo, she realized there were no powers by which she could escape. She soon lost her beautiful form and changed back into the white-faced, golden-furred, nine-tailed fox. Yasunari, I am indeed the nine-tailed fox. In a short while I would have completely sucked the lifeblood from the emperor and soon ruled this land myself. You have ruined my plan to destroy the human world. She turned her back on the still praying Yasunari, soared into the sky, and flew away. Honestly, at this moment, I'm like, okay, girl boss, get it. Like sucking the fucking lifeblood out of the emperor. It's kind of a move. I gotta be impressed. After that, the Emperor Toba's illness took a favorable turn, and the fox fled into Nasunogahara. Not needing to take human form in those highlands where there were no signs of people, the fox increased its evil deeds when it did appear in the low-lying villages. Learning this, the court established both the renowned Miura no Suke and Kazusa no Suke. Okay, one more from the top with correct pronunciation. Learning this, the court established both the renowned Miura no Suke and Kazusanosuke as generals in the Kanto area. Making Abe no Yasunari their advisor, the emperor issued an imperial order to exterminate the enchanted fox. I feel like this is a bad move. She tried it, she failed, let her go. Do not try and capture her, kill her. Like, things are gonna go awry. This is just my guess. Maybe it'll go great for them, but I feel like maybe not. The two generals, leading a force of over 80,000, assembled in Nasu. There, they passed the entire summer with its thick mists and completely covered both men and horses. Soon, the maples on the smoke-belching Nasu Mountains were growing ever more colorful. So it's like fall time is approaching. And let's open this in a new tab and zoom in. Miuranosuke, Kazusanosuke, and Sadanobu, the Lord of Nasu, who is leading the local troops, searched for the enchanted fox for 40 days. They were aided by Yasunari, who had become still more powerful, mastering the new magic of rain-making. Well, that's fun. The soldiers, drenched with sweat and mud, washed away their fatigue in the hot springs of Nasu. At last, the day arrived. The nine-tailed fox has appeared. This report was spread through the entire army. Sadanobu, drawing his most treasured singing arrow, was able to swiftly shoot the fox as it was cornered in a ravine. Okay, so there they are. These are the mountains. Is that maybe the mist? Or just like other mountains? And here is... Who is this one? Sadanobu over here with his arrow, and this is Lady Tamamo. Okay. Hurrah! Hurrah! The joyful voices of the villagers and more than 80,000 soldiers resounded long and loud through the mountains of Nasu. The nine-tailed fox, which had laid waste to all of Asia with its powers of transformation, perished and became a poisonous rock. It killed any people and beasts that approached it, and ever more crazed with rage, it went on killing even the flying birds and the fish of the nearby streams with its deadly poison. Yikes. The Abbot Genno, head priest of the Senkei Temple in the village of Nasu Sakai, was told of this. With the purification of the poisonous rock as his mission, he took lodging in Nasu Yumoto. You must choose a clear, windy day for the rites, said the master of the lodge. Heeding this advice, the abbot purified himself in the hot springs of Gyonin, and when the conditions were right, he quickly closed in on the rock from the direction of the Yuzen shrine. Approaching the poisonous rock, the abbot Genno paid no mind to the swirling vapors, but single-mindedly recited the Daijo Sutra. At this, a change became visible in the rock, and its mist gathered on its surface and gradually beaded up. Soon, as the abbot watched these drops vaporize, a stream of white mist rose up, and the former shape of the Lady Tamamo appeared from within that cloud. Soon, her figure disappeared, and the stone broke into 3 parts and scattered. One of these parts remains in Nasu still. People gave this stone the name Seisho Seiki, or Killer Rock. In 1957, Killer Rock was established as a Tochigi prefectural historic spot. With the development of the Nasu Highlands as a tourist destination, it is now familiar to a great many visitors. Fantastic. So that is the true facts about Tamamo no Mae. And last but not least, this thread links us to yokai.com, where we're going to be reading from in just a moment. But there is one other thing I would like to show off here, and this Twitter user Sam Kalensky tweeted, "The ominous kitsune-shaped clouds above Fuji on the 19th certainly don't help." And this incredible, I can definitely see it, like the tail swirling in the shape of the fox down here. It's looking a little scary. But yeah, that's it for this Twitter thread. So we're gonna exit out of this one and we're gonna get started on our yokai for the evening. So I have Tamamo No Mae pulled up, and I'm going to read her story pretty quickly. But the thing about Tamamo No Mae, and I'm going to read about the Seisho Seki too, because it has its own lore. She is one of the 3 terrible yokai of Japan. I guess there's 3 super bad ones. So I have the other 3 pulled up to read about at the end. We've got Shuten Doji and Sutokuten no. So we're going to read about those guys too. And along with Tamamo No Mae, I'm going to read about some Kitsune lore. And I have read about Kitsune before on my other yokai streams. I've read about Kitsune, Ashire, and Chiko. But there are other things like Nogitsune, Zenko, Byako, Kuko, all that stuff to get into. And I'm going to get into all of it. But first and foremost, we're going to read what yokai.com has to say about Tamamo No Mae. So, Tamamo No Mae. Let me actually take a sip of water. I was gonna get my little water what do you call it? Something to appear on screen whenever I take a sip of water, so it's more visually interesting than me making a fish face. But water first. I just have to enjoy my fish face for now. So here we go. Tamamo No Mae. Translation, a nickname literally meaning lady duckweed. Appearance. Oh, let's take a look at her. Here she is with her little fox ears. I feel like if she was in her fox mode, her fox ears and tail would not be out, but I'm not going to question this picture too much because it's lovingly rendered. She's combing her hair. You can kind of see her nails. Okay, appearance. Tamamo No Mae is one of the most famous kitsune in Japanese mythology. A 9-tailed magical fox, she is also one of the most powerful yokai that has ever lived. Her magical abilities were matched only by her trickiness and lust for power. Tamamo No Mae lived during the oh my gosh, how do you say this one? Heian? Okay. Tamamo No Mae lived during the Heian period, and though she may not have succeeded in her plan to kill the emperor and take his place, her actions destabilized the country and led it towards one of the most important civil wars in Japanese history. Sheesh! For that reason, Tamamo No Mae is considered one of the Nihon Sandai Aku to Yokai, the 3 terrible yokai of Japan. So keep a mental note of that. She is one of the 3 terrible yokai of Japan. I'm going to read about the other 2 later after I read about all the Kitsune lore. But let's move on to her origin. Tamamo No Mae appears in numerous texts and has been a popular subject throughout Japanese history. Her story is portrayed in literature, kabuki, bunraku, and other forms of art. There are several variations on her story. We read one tale, so hopefully this one will be a little bit different and we'll learn a little bit more about her. So, legends. Tamamo No Mae was born some 3,500 years ago in what is now China. And her early life is a mystery, but she eventually became a powerful sorceress. After hundreds of more years, she became a white-faced, golden-furred Kyubi no Kitsune, a 9-tailed fox with supreme magical power. In addition, she was an expert at manipulation. She used her charms and wit to advance her standing and influence world affairs. So it looks like there are some Chinese pronunciation things in this one that I may fail at, but I'll do my best. So during the Shang Dynasty, Tamamo No Mae was known as Daji. She disguised herself as a beautiful woman and became a favorite concubine of King Zhao of Shang. Daji was a model of human depravity. She held orgies in the palace gardens. Her fondness for watching and inventing new forms of torture are legendary. Oh, damn. The other story did not mention anything about inventing new forms of torture. Wow, okay. Daji eventually brought about the fall of the entire Shang dynasty. She managed to escape evacuation. She managed to escape execution and fled to the Magadha kingdom in India in 1046 BCE. I hope I'm pronouncing this one right. The Magadha was known in Magadha, she was known as Lady Kayo and became a consort of King Kalmashapada, known in Japan as Hanzoku. She used her beauty and charms to dominate the king, okay, good for her, causing him to devour children, not so good, murder priests, and commit other unspeakable horrors. Eventually, whether because she ran out of children to eat, oh my god, or because Kalmashapada began to turn away from her and towards Buddhism, she fled back to China. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I have some questions. It has so far mentioned new forms of torture that are legendary and unspeakable horrors. I want some clarification on this. What were I feel like maybe someone can speak about the horrors. I want to hear them. I want to know the horrors. And like inventing new forms of torture. What were the tortures? What did she do? I mean, I guess this was back in does it say? This is before 1046 BCE. So like every time you go to like a Ren fair or whatever, they always show like crazy torture devices, and it's like the thumb racks or the thumb screws or the rack and stuff. So this was like before that. So was she just like inventing like super tame stuff? Because then in like Renaissance era times, they're like, oh, those boring tortures that Tamamo No Mae invented, big deal. We're gonna go another step up and invent like the rack. I don't know, I have some questions. Anyway, so she fled back to China. During the Zhao dynasty, she called herself Bao Xi and was known as one of the most desirable women in all of China. In 779 BCE, she became a concubine of King Yu. Not satisfied as just a mistress, she manipulated the king into deposing his wife, Queen Shen, and making Bao Xi his new queen. Though she was beautiful, Bao Xi rarely ever smiled. In order to please his beautiful new wife, King Yu committed acts of such evil and atrocity that eventually all of his nobles abandoned and betrayed him. Okay, eventually King Yu was killed and Bao Xi captured, and the Western Zhao dynasty was brought to an end in 771 BCE. Somehow, Bao Xi managed to escape again. She went into hiding for many years. What I'm thinking, now that I've read some of this, is that perhaps there are just a lot of evil women who make their way to the top by being like ruthless, and then continue to be ruthless once they're up there, and people probably exaggerate about how ruthless and evil they are. And every time a new woman like this pops up, everyone's like, damn, it's gotta be Lady Tamamo. It's definitely her, right? I'm not so sure. I think maybe these are just different ladies who are bad news. So little is known about her activities until the 700s, when she resurfaced disguised as a 16-year-old girl named Wakamo. She tricked the leaders of the 10th Japanese envoy to the Tang dynasty, Kibi no Makibi, Abe no Nakamoto, and Ganjin, as they were preparing to return home to Japan. Wakamo joined their crew and took the ship to Japan, where she hid herself away for over 300 years. In the 1090s, she resurfaced once again. This time, she transformed herself into a human baby and hid by the side of the road. A married couple found the baby and rescued it, taking her in as their daughter and naming her Mikuzume. She proved to be an exceedingly intelligent and talented young girl and was so beautiful that she attracted to attention of everyone around her. That definitely says to, I didn't read it wrong. She attracted probably the attention of everyone around her. Hold on. She's attracting attention when she was 7 years old? I have suspicions about people who are being attracted to her. Okay, whatever. Continue. When she was 7 years old, Mikuzumi recited poetry before the emperor. His imperial majesty immediately took a liking to her and employed her as a servant in his court. Okay. What did her parents think of this? Were they not like, no, that's my child, I'm taking her back home with me? Or probably they were like, yeah, you're gonna live a great life in the palace. Please take my daughter and let her live nicely. I don't know. I just have some questions about what's going on with 7-year-olds in the 1090s. Mikuzumi excelled at court, absorbing knowledge like a sponge. SpongeBob SquarePants up in this bitch. There was no question she could not answer, whether it was about music, history, astronomy, religion, or Chinese classics. Her clothes were always clean and unwrinkled. She always smelled pleasant. Mikuzumi had the most beautiful face in all of Japan, and everyone who saw her loved her. This is kind of reminding me now of that Orphan movie where she's actually like a 32-year-old woman pretending to be a kid or whatever. And then she like goes on a killing rampage. So I'm seeing some similarities. During the winter of her 18th year, a poetry and instrument recital was held in Mikuzume's honor. During the recital, an unexpected storm fell upon the palace. All of the candles in the recital room were snuffed, leaving the participants in the dark. Suddenly, a bright light emanated from Mikuzume's body, illuminating the room. Everyone at court was so impressed by her genius and declared that she must have had an exceedingly good and holy previous life. She was given the name Tamamo No Mae. Emperor Toba, already exceedingly fond of her, made her his consort. Almost immediately after she became the emperor's consort, the emperor fell deathly ill. None of the court physicians could determine the cause, and so the Onmyoji Abe no Yasunari was called in. What? I know they mentioned in the other story who Yasunari was, but I need more clarification on what Onmyoji is. Please explain me Onmyoji. Official position... technical officer of divination. Oh, yes, that's right. He was a diviner. I do remember reading that now. Okay. Abe no Yasunare read the emperor's fortune and divined that he was marked by a bad omen. After that, the highest priests and monks were summoned to the palace to pray for the emperor's health. The best prayers of the highest priests had no effect, however. The emperor continued to grow worse. Abe no Yasunari was summoned again to read the emperor's fortune. This time, to his horror, the Onmyoji discovered that the emperor's beloved Tamamo no Mae was the cause of his illness. She was a Kitsune in disguise and was shortening the emperor's lifespan in order to take over as ruler of Japan. Emperor Toba was reluctant to believe the diviner's words, but agreed to test Tamamo no Mae just to be sure. To save the emperor's life, Abe no Yasunari prepared the Taizan Huku no Sae. What is that? The most secret and most powerful spell known to Onmyodo. Tamamo no Mae was ordered to perform part in the ritual. They reasoned that an evil spirit would not be able to participate in such a holy ritual. Though she was reluctant to participate, the emperor's ministers persuaded her. They told her that it would increase her standing and admiration among the court. She had little choice but to accept. I don't know, I feel like now is the time to cut and run. Like in the other instances, like she wreaked some havoc for a while and then was like, gotta get out of here. And I feel like if she was smart, now's the time to be like, okay, let me just bounce. Like, she's gonna get caught in this ritual, so why even go through with it? Just leave now. Anyway, when the ritual was performed, Tamamo no Mae dressed even more beautifully than normal. She recited the holy words as expected and played her part extremely well, but just as she prepared to wave the ceremonial staff, she vanished. Oh, okay. So she's in it. She's like, I'm out of here. Abe no Yasunari's divination was confirmed. The court flew into an uproar. Damn, okay. Soon after, word arrived that women and children were disappearing near Nasuno no Shimotsuke province. The court sorcerers determined that Tamamo no Mae was the cause, and it was decided that she must be destroyed once and for all. The emperor summoned the best warriors in all of the land and then charged the most superb of them, okay. I just read these on the others. I just read these before and got their names right. Let me get them right again. Kazusanosuke and Miuranosuke to find Tamamo no Mae. The warriors gladly accepted the honor. They purified themselves and set out with an army of 80,000 men to slay the 9-tailed Kitsune. Upon reaching Nasuno, the army quickly found the Kitsune. The warriors chased her for days and days, but the fox used her magical powers and outsmarted them time and time again, easily escaping. The army grew weary and frustration set in. It seemed that nothing they did was working. However, Kazusanosuke and Miuranosuke would not accept the shame of defeat and vowed to press on. They practiced harder, honing their tactics, and eventually picked up the Kitsune's trail. They're on it. One night, Miuranosuke had a prophetic dream. A beautiful young girl appeared before him crying. She begged, "Tomorrow I will lose my life to you. Please spare me." Miuranosuke adamantly refused, and upon waking, the warriors set out again to find Tamamo no Mae. Sure enough, the next day they caught her. Miuranosuke fired 2 arrows, one through the fox's flank and one through its neck. Kazusanosuke swung his blade. It was over, just as the dream had said. However, Tamamo no Mae's evil did not end with her death. 1 year after she died, Emperor Konoe died heirless. The following year, her lover and former Emperor Toba died as well. A succession crisis ignited forces loyal to Emperor Go Shirakawa and forces loyal to Emperor Sutoku. This crisis started the Fujiwara Minamoto rivalry that led to the Genpei War, the end of the Heian period, and the rise of the first shoguns. As if that were not enough, Tamamo no Mae's spirit haunted a massive boulder which killed every living thing it touched. And that is the boulder, ladies and gentlemen, that broke. So now we have read all about Tamamo no Mae, all the havoc she got up to, killing, torturing, eating babies. And then she came to Japan and honestly seemed kind of tame here. She just was a cute child and tried to kill an emperor, which, I can't really fault her too much for that. She wanted the power. It's a power play. What are we going to be mad at her? Okay, we should be mad at her. She did some killing and torturing. But what I'm saying what she did in Japan was a little less bad than all the murdering she did everywhere else. But anyway, in the end, this makes it seem like she was entrapped in one singular boulder, but the other story made it seem like she was entrapped in 3 different boulders. But either way, she was her spirit was trapped into this boulder, the Seisho Seiki. So let us read about the Seisho Seiki, the killing stone. So translation, killing stone. Let's take a peek at it here. This is the stone. It looks like it has like a dog's face, probably the to represent the kitsune that's trapped inside. And we've got some skulls down here. And then I think this is like sulfuric miasma. So, appearance. Seisho Seiki is a large boulder that stands in the plains of Nasuno, Shimotsuke, modern-day Tochigi Prefecture. Around it is a desolate, lifeless field filled with toxic gases and the skeletons of animals who strayed too near. Oh no, poor guys. Hard life lesson to learn there. Origin. Seisho Seiki was formed when the evil nine-tailed kitsune, Tamamo No Mae, was slain. Her hunters returned triumphantly, bearing her body to the capital. Her spirit, however, attached itself to a large boulder near where she fell. It continued to kill long after her death. Any living thing that wandered close enough to the stone died instantly. Yikes. Seisho Seiki remained a deadly landmark until 1383 CE, when Tamamo No Mae's spirit was put to rest once and for all. Okay, so this is 1380 something, and when was all this stuff going on where she was goofing around with the emperor? The 1090s. So is this probably like 300 years later? The legend, one day a high priest named Genno was traveling through Shimotsuke province when he noticed a peculiar sight. The birds in the air fell to their deaths whenever they passed over a certain boulder in the plain of Nasuno. Honestly, that would be really scary to see, just to look up and see like a bird fucking drop to its death above you. Oh my god. At the base of the stone was a pile of dead birds. Oh, yikes. Genno wondered what could cause such a phenomenon. Not long afterwards, a local woman appeared near the priest and he asked her about the stone. The woman explained that Seisho Seiki was haunted by the spirit of Tamamo No Mae. She told him the story of the fox courtesan and then vanished. A ghost? A ghost? Genno realized that the woman had been a ghost of the infamous Kitsune. Oh my god. He performed a Buddhist memorial service over the stone, and suddenly Tamamo No Mae's spirit reappeared and confessed all of her sins, going back thousands of years all the way to India and China. After hearing Genno's pure words and Buddhist teachings, Tamamo No Mae repented all of her evils and swore never again to do wrong. Now that the rock has cracked open, I hope she is sticking to her word to do no wrong. Sorry, let me start that sentence over. After hearing Genno's pure words and Buddhist teachings, Tamamo No Mae repented all of her evils and swore never again to do no wrong, and then disappeared. Her spirit, exorcised from the rock, never harmed anyone again. Okay, so it was exorcised from the rock? Or was she trapped in the rock? And you know what? I'm thinking now, the reason we know about her traveling to Japan and India, or not Japan, traveling to China and India, and where she did the unspeakable horrors and invented new tortures, I think the reason we know about it is because she told this dude Genno, like right now, she was like, oh yeah, I was in China and I invented all these new tortures, and then I went to India and I did some unspeakable things. So the reason they are unspeakable and brand new invented, I think she didn't go into detail here, and that's why we don't have other details in the other stories. So maybe that is why the horrors are unspeakable, is because she didn't speak to them. Genno, whose name means hammer, hit the rock and it burst into many pieces. Okay, this is where the pieces separated. The pieces flew all across Japan, where many of them remain today. The base of the rock still stands in Nasu, Tochigi. Maybe it is not still standing. Other chunks flew to Okayama, Niigata, Hiroshima, and Oita, where they were enshrined. Smaller fragments landed in present-day Fukui, Gifu, Nagano, Gunma, and parts of Shikoku, where they were picked up and used as magical amulets to perform charms or curses. Okay, so that's the Seisho Seki. So even though the one in Nasu cracked open, it seems like there are other segments that are still whole and perhaps containing her. So maybe it's just like opening the door a crack and not letting her all the way out. I think that is, I'm going to decide that that's what happened when it cracked. So that is this, the Tamamo No Mae done, Seisho Seki done, and now I thought we could read a little bit more about Kitsune because she is a fox demon. So let's read more about fox demons. What are fox demons all about? The thing about fox demons is that they have a lot of ranks. I'm just going to go through all the ones that are on this site. These are all the ranks. There's also, and then I can read about getting possessed by a fox demon. But first off, we gotta find out, like, what is a fox demon? I have definitely read this on my channel before, but I'm happy to read it again. I love reading about cool, spooky, creepy things, and demons are very fun, especially the Japanese yokai demons. So let's get into what is a kitsune. Translation, fox. Alternative names. Unique names exist in many individual instances. Habitat found throughout Japan. Diet omnivorous. Fond of fried tofu. You know, I read that last time and I did not retain it. That's so cute and fun. Let's check them out here. So these are just normal people. And then we've got the like kitsune trying to blend in. Like no one's going to notice the little nose and tail. Appearance. Foxes, or kitsune, are found all across Japan. They are identical to wild foxes found elsewhere in the world, apart from their incredible magical powers. Their cute faces and small size make them particularly loved by most people. Okay, so they're like, people like these guys. They maybe didn't like Tamamo No Mae for all the evil things they did, but most kitsunes, most foxes, they're magical, they're cute and fun. Behavior. There are two major variations of kitsune. Holy foxes are servants of the Shinto deity Inari, and Inari shrines are decorated with statues and images of these foxes. Legends tell of celestial foxes providing wisdom or service to good and pious humans. These holy foxes act as messengers of the gods and mediums between the celestial and human worlds. They often protect humans or places, provide good luck, and ward evil spirits away. More common are the wild foxes, which delight in mischief, pranks, and evil. Very fun. There are stories in which wild foxes trick or even possess humans, which we'll read about that later, and cause them to behave strangely. Despite this wicked nature, even wild foxes keep their promises, remember friendships, and repay any favors done to them. Good to know. They're not all bad. They're always going to keep their promises. Hopefully it's like a good promise, like I promise to give you $5, and not a bad promise like I promise to ruin your life. If you get any kind of promise from a kitsune, hopefully it's not a bad one. Interactions. Most tales of kitsune are about wild foxes punishing wicked priests, greedy merchants, and boastful drunkards. They vex their targets by creating phantom sounds and sights, stealing from them, or otherwise humiliating them publicly. Certain mental disorders have been attributed to possession by kitsune, known as kitsunetsuki. Mysterious, illusory fires and strange lights in the sky are said to be caused by their magic and known as Kitsune or foxfire. So in the tale about Tamamo no Mae, the lights all go out in the palace while they're doing that little, what was it? It was like a little recital. The lights all went out and a bunch of like lights and fire emanated from her body, and everyone was like, oh, she's holy. And I was like, is that not just foxfire? I think it is. I think that's what that was. Other forms. Kitsune are extremely intelligent and powerful shapeshifters. They frequently harass humans by transforming into giants or other fearsome monsters. Sometimes they do this just for pranks, and sometimes for more nefarious purposes. They are skilled enough to even transform into exact likenesses of individual people, often appearing in the guise of a beautiful woman in order to trick young men. On more than one occasion, this has resulted in a marriage with an unwitting human. Some kitsune even spend most of their lives in human form, adopting human names and customs, taking human jobs, and even raising families. When startled or drunk or careless, a patch of their magical disguise can fail. The kitsune's true nature may be revealed by a tail, a swatch of fur, fangs, or some other vulpine features. So one thing I wanted to go back to up here, they are skilled enough to even transform into exact likenesses of individual people, so they transform into exact likenesses. That is so scary to me. I went to like a haunted tour of like an asylum, and one of the things on the ground floor, they talked about like the different wards and what kind of ghost sightings are on which ward. And in one section of the ground floor, the tour guide was like, yeah, this is the area where we see doppelgangers, people who look exactly like, someone who might be on this tour. And like that idea like scared me so much. Like because I was there with my brother and his wife, so if I like turned to my brother and he just kept like walking by me and didn't look to me, didn't speak to me, and just kept walking, and I'm like, yo, hey, what's up, what are you doing, where are you going? And it turned out to be a fucking ghost. That would have shooken me to my core. So the fact that kitsune can do this, can like transform into exact likenesses of individual people, something very, very spooky about that. But I like the idea of like they just get a little drunk and like goof up, and it's like, ma'am, is that a tail? Is that some big teethies? Like, what is that, Red Riding Hood? Or it's like, wow, what big teeth you have. So that's in general, that's what's going on with the kitsune. And I'm not going to talk about the myobu tonight because we've got a bunch of other things to talk about. But something interesting I did read about myobu is that foxes would hunt the like rats and mice that ate the crops. So like in like feudal Japan, a bunch of like rice and wheat farmers, they would see the foxes as lucky because they would like eat the pests that were eating their crops on the farm, and that's why foxes are worshipped. And specifically like the myobu is like a holy messenger god of the Inari, like rice god. I think Inari's the rice god, and myobu are like his messengers. But that's another thing about kitsune and why people see them as like cute or lucky, is because back in the day they were like helpful around the farm. So it's kind of like how we would see like a dog. It's like, oh yeah, it's a friend. It's not evil, it's just a friend. Or like a cat, it's like, it's not evil, it's just a friend, he's hunting some mice. So let's get into the ranks here. The first rank being ashire. And I did read about this before too, but let's read about it again. Translation, ashi. I think this is a Chinese word that is pronounced similar to ashi. Hopefully, I'm not great at pronouncing these things. So, alternative names, ashi, ashireko. Habitat, forest and wilderness. Diet, carnivorous. So here is our little ashire. They're looking at the moon out here in the wilderness. Beautiful, having a nice time at night. Appearance. Ashire are low-ranking kitsune. They are, for the most part, indistinguishable from non-magical foxes. So chances are you look at a fox, it's going to be one of these guys. Behavior. Ashide is the lowest social rank of Kitsune. It is held from infancy into the age of 100. The rank of Ashide includes ordinary, non-magical foxes, as well as a magical Kitsune. So even if you don't end up being like a magical creature, if you look at any fox anywhere in the world, any fox, it is an Ashide. That is what I'm getting from this. It's just some of them go on to learn magic and some of them live normal fox lives. So because of this, the vast majority of Kitsune belong to this rank. Around age 50, all Kitsune begin their ascetic training to develop their wizardry. I had to look this up twice. The first time I did a yokai stream and the second time I did a yokai stream because I didn't remember what it meant. But it relates to esotericism and just like occult practices and worship. Yeah. They begin to study ancient occult practices, worshipping the sun, the moon, and stars. Most notably, they develop shape-shifting abilities. This is accomplished by facing the Big Dipper and placing a human skull on their head. Okay, but where are they getting the skulls? Other objects may be incorporated into this spell to flesh out the disguise. For example, a Kitsune who wishes to disguise himself as a cook might also place cookware on his body. To transform into one of their favorite disguises, a beautiful young woman, a Kitsune will place duckweed, a lily pad, or other leaves on its head, transforming them into long, elegant hair. And if I'm not mistaken, Tamamo No Mae means Lady of the Duckweed? Actually, let's check. Tamamo No Mae. I shouldn't have closed out her thing because I need to look at it. Aha, Lady Duckweed. Wow, connect those dots. They place duckweed on their head to transform into a woman, and she is Lady of Duckweed. Look at that. It's all coming together. By the time an Ashide has reached 100 years old, it has honed... Oh, wait. Did I finish this sentence? Yeah, transforming into long, elegant hair. Okay, sorry. By the time an Ashide has reached 100 years old, it has honed its magical skills enough to be promoted to the next ranked, Chico. And don't worry, we're going to read about Chico. Interactions. Because Ashide is the largest rank, most of the Kitsune which humans encounter belong to rank. What? Hold on. Because Ashide is the largest rank, most of the Kitsune which humans encounter belong to rank. I think the word "this" is supposed to be there. Before they attain their magical powers, Ashide are easily ensnared in traps, injured, or even killed by hunters or dogs. Only after attaining magical powers do they begin to pose a threat to humans. Once an Ashide begins to use magic, it becomes more dangerous, often seeking revenge against humans who wronged it or its friends. Origin. Kitsune lore is rooted in ancient superstitions which developed over many centuries in China before arriving in Japan. The term Ashide comes from Ashi, an evil fox spirit from the 3rd century Chinese legend. A soldier named Wang Ling Xiao, I know I goofed that. It's probably just Ling Xiao. Wang Ling Xiao was repeatedly lured away from his post by a beautiful woman named Ashi. One day, he deserted his post completely. Wang's commanding officer, Chen Hao, suspected that this woman had been some sort of a demon. Bit of a leap. She might have just been a hottie. Why is she a demon? Chen gathered his men and dogs and tracked Wang to a cave. They found him lying on the floor, half transformed into a fox. He was calling out helpfully for Ashi. After being rescued, Wang confessed that the pleasure of being with her was incomparable to anything he had ever experienced. Okay, she's got that wop. Ashi's name, which is pronounced Ashi in Japanese, became synonymous for a beautiful and honey-mouthed temptress with a wicked heart and cruel lust for torturing men. Just call me Ashi, baby. Her legend became a pattern for future Kitsune stories. I mean, honestly, it just sounds like dude couldn't keep it in his pants, and now, like, all women are demons. Of course, that's always the way it goes, isn't it? I had a question about this the last time I read this. Is Ashi an Ashire when she did this? Or was she a higher rank? I don't know. She had to be a lower rank, right? Or they wouldn't have tacked that story onto this lore? I'm not sure. I'm going to move on next to No Kitsune. And yes, I am going to be thinking about the MTV TV show Teen Wolf for the entire time. Okay, No Kitsune. Translation, wild fox. Alternative names, Yako, Yakan. Many local variations exist as well. Habitat, fields, forests, and many wild areas. Diet, omnivorous. They particularly like wax, oil, lacquer, and women's life force and blood? What a mix of things to enjoy. So appearance, let's take a peek at him here. Here's two little foxes. This guy's holding a lantern. This lantern looks like it was chewed up. I honestly thought this was like the rib cage of an animal when I first glanced at it. This is like a blood something. I'm glad it's not. It looks like it's just a lantern. And this is a little village in the background. So appearance, Nogitsune, also frequently called Yako, are a type of kitsune, magical foxes found in East Asian folklore. Specifically, the term refers to low-ranking wild kitsune that do not have a divine soul or serve as messengers for the gods. Okay. They are particularly known for transforming into humans. In folk tales where humans are tormented, tricked, or possessed by a kitsune, the culprit is almost always a no kitsune. So I talked earlier in kitsune saying that there are like some good ones and some bad ones, and almost every time that something bad happens, it seems to be attributed to a no kitsune. So keep that in mind. These are the bad boys of the kitsune rank. Like, if there's a kitsune who's up to no good, it's a no kitsune. Behavior. Nogitsune are cautious creatures with a keen danger sense. They dislike bright light, much like one of the gremlins, Gizmo himself, and hide from the sun during daytime. They are also afraid of bladed objects and will avoid swords and knives. Me too. I don't want to get stabbed with a sword or knife either, so I can relate to these guys. They are frightened of dogs as well. A Nogitsune, disguised as a human, might accidentally reveal their true form when startled by a barking dog. Okay, another reason to get yourself a dog. They'll protect you from Nogitsune. Nogitsune are able to recognize signs of human activity. They generally hide from humans when possible. However, they like to sneak into human-inhabited areas at night to steal some of their favorite foods: wax candles, lamp oil, lacquer, alcohol, and fried tofu. Cute. Some types kitsune are viewed as holy animals. Nogitsune are not one of these types. They are low-ranking members of the kitsune family and do not act as divine messengers or serve Inari. So I looked it up. Inari is like the god of the harvest, sort of, and most kitsune do serve him. Like I was talking about earlier, they chased off the rodents around the farm that would eat the crop like actual foxes did. So that's why they became to like the farmers would see this and be like, oh my god, it must be a messenger from the harvest god who sent him down to help us. So that's why they started to revere the foxes and appreciate them. Despite this, Nogitsune seem to be comfortable in their position and don't aspire to increase their standings. Interactions. No Kitsune are notorious tricksters. One of their favorite activities is transforming in order to trick foolish humans. They use their power to scare people and often steal things from them as well. In order to change its shape, an Ogitsune requires a magical focus of some kind, usually a bone from a cow or a horse. Kitsune Tsuki, possession by a fox spirit, is commonly performed by Nogitsune. Sometimes it is to punish humans they don't like. Other times it is just for the Nogitsune's own amusement. He's like, I'm bored today. Let's possess somebody. Women are a favorite target. This is sometimes said to be because women are women are weaker and easier to possess. Speak for yourself. But it is also because Nogitsune can feed off a woman's life force. Yikes. Despite these conflicts with humans, Nogitsune do occasionally interact positively with people. There are many tales of wild kitsune returning favors to those who are kind to them. There are even stories about men happily marrying Nogitsune disguised as beautiful women. Unfortunately, these stories almost always end in tragedy when the disguise is discovered. Humans occasionally ask Nogitsune for favors. However, Nogitsune are notoriously unreliable. If you ask one to protect an object, it will only do so for a short time before it forgets its promise and wanders off. He's like, yeah, I protected it for 5 minutes. Dude's not back yet. I'm out of here. He's like, I'm not getting paid for this. Origin. Nogitsune are known by many different names. The most common one is Yako is simply another reading of the kanji in its name. The name Yakan is more archaic and has its origins in a different animal. Yakan are magical beasts from Chinese Buddhist scripture. This term literally means wild dogs, and their description can be found in various scriptures. They are small and cunning. They are yellow in color and resemble small dogs with fluffy tails. They can change their shape, so their true form is unknown. They live in packs and cry out at night like wolves. In the original Sanskrit, the animal referred to is the jackal. Jackals linger around burial grounds and eat carrion, and so they were viewed as wicked animals and servitors of evil gods. When Buddhism was transmitted to China, because jackals do not exist in China, the animal was not understood. They were assumed to be a creature similar to foxes, martens, or wild dogs. When Buddhism was brought to Japan, Yakan was assumed to be a fox and became synonymous with kitsune. Thus, the wicked deeds performed by jackals in Indian folklore became to be associated with foxes in Japanese folklore. That's an interesting thing, the way it got translated over. I was going to wait to get to the Kitsune Tsuki, but I'm honestly going to hop to it now. I was going to wait to do that at the end and go through the different ranks first, but let's jump to it. We're talking about the evil deeds of the Nogitsune, so let's see what it is like to be possessed. Kitsune Tsuki. And if I'm not mistaken, Tsuki means moon, so I'm thinking it might be like a werewolf kind of thing. Let's find out. Translation: fox possession. Here she is, this beautiful lady right here. She's got her little fox teeth, her fox tail, her foxy little nails, and her fox ears. So earlier when it talked about kitsune, it's like when they get drunk or they're startled or something, like a little thing might pop out and you'll notice, is that some teeth? Ma'am, you have fox teeth? Or like their little tail will pop out and you're like, is that a tail? So just imagine like one of these things showing in this photo and being like, something's not quite right here. You're drinking with your friend at the bar and you start to see these teeth and you're like, excuse me? I've had too many Bud Light Limes. What is this? Too many White Claws. Appearance. Some kitsune are able to possess human beings and cause them to behave in strange ways. Compared with other types of animal spirit possessions, Kitsune Tsuki is a relatively common form of possession in humans. A person possessed by a fox spirit often develops physical features that appear fox-like, such as sharper teeth or a streamlined, pointy face. For much of Japanese history until modern medicine was introduced, mental illness and insanity were usually blamed on Kitsune Tsuki. Okay, that's interesting. Interactions. There are three main types of kitsune possession: possession of an individual, possession of a family, and possession for use as a medium. Okay, let me take a quick sip of water. Water break. Water break. Delicious. Let's find out what happens when a kitsune possesses an individual. It is often in retaliation for something done to the kitsune, killing one of its family members, for example. The possessing spirit causes its host to behave erratically and emotionally, making them prone to violent outbreaks and hysteria. People possessed by kitsune sometimes run naked through the streets. Oh my. Is this like every streaker at every a sports event ever where they just happen to be possessed by a kitsune? Foam at the mouth and yelp like a fox. What Hang on. I was literally just about to ask, what does a fox sound like? And I remember that there is a whole song about what does a fox say. I think they yip, don't they? I want to look it up on YouTube, but I'm not going to. I respect myself too much to look what does a fox sound like up on YouTube. Okay, kitsune can speak through their host's mouths. Okay. Victims are often able to speak and read languages that they previously had no knowledge of. Kitsune can even control their hosts like a puppet, causing them to do all sorts of evil things. According to folklore, women are more susceptible to fox possession than men. Kitsune are also said to possess people who are weak-minded. Ugh, yikes. I don't like what that says about mental illness, especially because mental illnesses were blamed on kitsune. I don't like that at all. When a kitsune possesses a family, that family becomes rich and fertile. What? Let me back that up. Read that again. When a kitsune possesses a family, that family becomes rich and fertile. That sounds like a good thing. Would we not want that to happen? I'm like, kitsune, possess me right now. I'd love to become rich. These families were called kitsune mochi and were able to manipulate the possessing kitsune spirits. In addition to bringing prosperity to their owners, kitsune could be used to bring ruin upon a family's enemies. I need to get me a kitsune. Money, ruin upon my enemies? This is great. Kitsune mochi people use these spirits to place curses, possess, or bring sickness to others. Kitsune mochi families kept their fox spirits for generations, handing down their secrets from parent to child. A kitsune mochi family would honor and care for its possessing spirit, for it could just as easily bring the same ruin upon their entire family line. Yikes. People suspected of belonging to kitsune mochi families were mistrusted for their unnatural abilities and feared by their neighbors. Even today, in some parts of Japan, people belonging to these lineages occasionally have trouble finding marriage partners, and few parents would allow their son or daughter to join such a family. Wow, so this is like still a superstition. Kitsune tsuki, for use as a medium, involves inviting a kitsune to possess a willing person in order to perform divinations. A kitsune would enter a medium's body and speak through her mouth, predicting the future or giving secret knowledge. This is a very dangerous practice, as it relies on the willingness of the kitsune to leave the body after the possession, and kitsune are very powerful creatures, so dangerous. They could overstay their welcome. Recognizing possession in a person can be difficult if the victim does not display any obvious physical signs. However, there are a few ways to diagnose kitsune possession. Despite living in a human's body, kitsune retain certain traits which can betray their presence. All kitsune love fried tofu, and azuki beans. That is so cute. A possessed person will strongly crave these foods, often eating them large amounts and not filling up. Oh my god, they're just hungry. A possessed person also develops a strong fear of dogs. In addition, a small lump can often be found hidden on the victim's body. This is a place where the fox spirit resides. If pushed or pricked, the lump slips away and hides in another part of the body. It cannot be caught or removed by any physical means. That's gross. I don't like the idea of something living under my skin. Because of widespread belief in fox possession, a number of folk cures have been invented over the centuries to deal with it. Exorcism was usually performed at inari shrines, as foxes are sacred to inari. One fairly benign treatment including having the victim licked from head to toe by dogs. Oh my god! Which foxes fear intensely. Well, I'm thinking of all the Western exorcisms where people end up like like literally the exorcist, like skin turning green, cuts all over the body, bones like backs bent back and broken, and here they're just like, yeah, let my little dog lick ya. It'll be fine. I guess it is kind of scary if you're the fox. Other less fortunate victims, oh no, here we go, here we're getting to the bad stuff. Other less fortunate victims were beaten or burned in an attempt to drive out the fox spirit. Oof. In some cases, priests would burn fresh pine leaves, suffocating the patient in thick, toxic smoke in an attempt to drive out the possessing spirit. Unfortunately, this sometimes killed the patient before driving out the kitsune. In the end, even if the victim was cured of the possession, the families of people accused of kitsunetsuki often suffered ostracism and social isolation for the rest of their lives. Ugh, terrible. It started out so fun with the dog licking and then really went downhill. But that's kitsunetsuki. I learned all about that. Now let's get back to the ranks here and see what the other kitsune are up to, because they're not all nogitsune. They're not all evil possessing spirits. Some of them are just like nice guys, messengers of the gods, or just like tricksters having a fun time who aren't possessing people. So let's learn more about their ranks. This is the Chico. I have read about the Chico before, and I'm happy to read about it again. The translation is Earth Fox. Habitat, forests and wilderness, often found near human areas. Diet, carnivorous. Appearance, let's check him out. This is our Chico. He's got a skull on his head. Earlier we heard about how Ashide, once they started to learn how to transform, they had to get a human skull and like face the Big Dipper to transform into a human. So it looks like this dude right here has the human skull on his head. He might be about to transform. Appearance. Chico is the next rank of Kitsune society after Ashireko. Kitsune belong to this rank no longer look like ordinary non-magical foxes, as they begin to sprout additional tails based on their age. This is the highest rank which wicked foxes or nogitsune can achieve. Good foxes or zenko can eventually advance higher to higher social ranks. So if you see a nogitsune, it's either going to be an ashireko or a chico. Behavior. After 100 years of age, a kitsune can advance in rank from an ashireko to chico. Most chico are between 100 and 500 years of age. For kitsune who wish to continue to advance in society, this is a period of intense ascetic practice. As they grow in age and magical power, chico can begin to develop additional tails. The oldest and most powerful chico can have up to 9 tails, which Tamamo no Mae did have. At around 500 years of age, good Chico may advance to the next rank of society and become Kiko, and that is further down on our list of things to read about tonight. They shed their physical bodies and become spiritual entities. As for no Kitsune, Chico is the highest rank they can ever achieve. No matter how many years they may live, how many tails they may grow, or how powerful they become, they will never advance beyond this rank. Even the most famous and powerful nine-tailed Kitsune who became Tamamo No Mae only held the rank of Chico. Wow, that is an interesting fact about Tamamo No Mae that we did not hear anywhere else. So she was just a Chico level. Interesting. Interactions. In regards to their relationship with humans, Chico may be wicked, beneficent, or indifferent. All Chico are powerful. However, how they use this power depends upon whether they are Zenko or Nogitsune. Well, we know what a Nogitsune is. Let's find out what a Zenko is. That is next on our list here. Zenko. So I'm not entirely sure what this picture is depicting. Let's read a little more before we look at the picture. Zenko. Translation: good fox or virtuous fox. Alternative names: Reiko, Inari Kitsune, or Osaki Toge. Habitat: forests, fields, mountains, and shrines. Diet: omnivorous. Appearance: Zenko are good Kitsune who serve the gods and perform good deeds. So I'm thinking maybe this is a shrine. Let's see what context clues we can get from this picture here. A shrine with some food and drink left out. And this is the little pitter-patter feet of a Zenko who came to treat himself at the shrine and maybe walked away. So behavior. Zenko society is extremely complex. It mirrors human society with families and tribes, ranks, and various levels of awards and degrees. Sources disagree on the exact structure of Zenko society. According to one common classification, Zenko are divided into 5 groups based on fur color. Tenko, heavenly foxes, Kinko, gold foxes, Ginko, silver foxes, Byakko, white foxes, and Kokuko, black foxes. Another classification divides them into 3 social ranks, which with no regard for coloring: Tenko, heavenly foxes, Kuko, shy foxes, and Kiko, spirit foxes. I'm reminded of Kurama from Yu Yu Hakusho. He had a little spirit fox in him. Still, other classifications exist. Individual shrines, such as the Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto, often have their own degrees and ranks to bestow upon hard-working Zenko. The one area where everyone agrees is that Zenkos stand in stark contrast to Yako, wild foxes. I have a lot of this stuff pulled up. I have Byakko, Kuko, Kiko, Tenko, all that stuff pulled up, so we'll be able to read out about a lot of that. Not everything is has its own section up here. I tried looking for like Ginko and Kinko and didn't find anything on the yokai website, so we'll just read what we have and enjoy it. Let's continue on with information about Zenko here. Evil behavior. Frequently attributed to Kitsune. Oh, I emphasized that way wrong. Evil behavior frequently attributed to Kitsune is always the work of Yako, not Zenko. Whereas Yako have no interest in advancement in Kitsune society, Zenko work hard to improve themselves and increase their social standing. Zenko may occasionally play tricks or pranks on people, but they do not seriously harm or kill humans. Zenko serve the gods as messengers, facilitating communication between humans and kami. They are most often found in the service of the Shinto deity Inari or the Buddhist Dakini. Zenko can even be enshrined as gods themselves or as manifestations or emanations of higher deities. Origin. Kitsune Monogatari, part of the Edo period essay collection, Kyusensha Manipitsu, is a well-known source on the structure of Kitsune society. It claims to be the recorded words of a Kitsune who possessed a human and discussed the different tribes of Zenko and the ranks of the Kitsune society through its host's mouth. The Kitsune made a very clear point that there was a distinction between benevolent Zenko and wicked Yako. Now I am wondering if somebody got quote-unquote possessed by a Kitsune and was like, or maybe their family had like associations of being possessed by a Kitsune, and they're like, I gotta do damage control so I don't get ostracized by my community. So I'm gonna let them know that there are good ones and bad ones, and I was definitely possessed by a good one, and I'm gonna make up a bunch of bullshit about what our communities are like. Sorry, not to destroy the like aura of mysticism and destroy the idea that these are real creatures that actually existed and really do have a society like this, but I'm just thinking, if it was me and I got if I was accused of being possessed by a fox demon, I'd be like, no, we're one of the good ones. My family was possessed by one of the good ones who are nice and good. And to back it up, I would just bullshit. Be like, yeah, so here's all the details about the society, and that's why I'm right. I feel like maybe, or somebody just had some like really intense world building ideas once they heard about Kitsune and was like, I gotta tell somebody. Also, clear possibility. Let's read next. Actually, I'm gonna get a sip of water before I continue. Taking a water break. Water break. This is actually my last sip of water. I'm out. Oh no, what am I gonna do after this? I do have some more water in the other room, but hopefully I won't have to run over there. Water, empty. Bam. Nailed it. Okay. Let us continue with Byakko. Here it is, the Byakko. This is a shrine right here. I'm wondering if this is a small shrine or a giant wolf. Let's find out. Translation, white fox. Alternative names, Shiro Kitsune. Shiro meaning white, Kitsune meaning fox. Habitat, forests, fields, mountains, and shrines. Appearance, Byakko are Kitsune with pure white fur. They can have anywhere from 1 to 9 tails depending on their age. Behavior, Byakko are the most common of the tribes of Zenko or good Kitsune. They are associated with Shinto and devote their lives to the service of the deity Inari. Interactions, Byakko are revered by humans as messengers or even incarnations of the gods. Statues of Byakko are frequently found as decorations inside of Inari shrine grounds. Hold on, let me try that one again. Statues of Byakko, I keep saying it wrong. Statues of Byakko are frequently found as decorations inside of Inari shrine grounds. It's a tongue twister. Shrine grounds. I kept wanting to say shrine grounds. Images of Byakko are often sold by shrines as charms. Oh, that's very cute. So the Zenko that we were just reading about, there is a large tribe of them. Or like multiple tribes. And the most common tribe is this Byakko tribe. And they look nice and friendly. I definitely trust this dude. I definitely trust him. Let me search, see if we can find any of the charms. Oh, did they sell at shrines? Do they have any? Wait, that something would pop up immediately, but I don't really see anything, so just kidding. Okay, that's it for the Byakko. Let us move on to Kuko. Translation, Sky Fox. Alternate names, Inari Kuko. Habitat, the sky. Wow, wouldn't you know it? The sky fox lives in the sky. Diet, none. They have no physical bodies and do not require sustenance. Appearance, Kuko are Zenko, or good kitsune, which have lived for an extremely long time and achieved the highest ranks of kitsune society. A tenko can become a kuko after reaching 3,000 years of age. Upon achieving this rank, a kitsune takes on a much more human-like appearance. They lose their tails entirely, although their ears still resemble a fox's. I wonder if that's my little mask that I have, if that's like supposed to be a kuko. I don't know. They look pretty similar. Oh. Where was I? They do not have physical bodies and exist as being of pure spirit. They are telepathic and clairvoyant and can even see into the future. Their level of magical power is the highest it will ever be, on par with the gods. Damn! Okay, that's impressive. Behavior. Although they are the oldest and most powerful form of kitsune, kuko are only the second highest ranking kitsune after tenko. This is because after 3,000 years, they have reached a sort of retirement age where they are no longer working in the service of inari, whereas younger kitsune still actively serve the gods. A kuko's duties are more like that of a privy council member or a venerated elder. Okay, so you kind of get old and get a little bit more respect on your name and don't have to run around giving messages out there. You can just hang out and advise from afar. Interactions. When kuko interact with human beings, it is only to do good deeds. They might increase the prosperity of a temple or household. They might help a good and honest person achieve fame for their skills. They might possess a pure-hearted but foolish person in order to teach him how to improve his life. When kuko possess a human, it does not cause mental disorder or sickness in the way that is commonly associated with kitsunetsuki. Okay, big differentiation there. I wonder if it's still like, if these people are still like ostracized, like, ooh, bully, you got possessed, and even if it's a kuko, it's still like, no, you still got possessed. Legends. A late Edo period book called Kyusensha Manipsu tells the story of an encounter with a kuko. A kuko who had been living in Kyoto for a long time decided to make a journey to Edo. Along the way, he stopped to rest at the house of a samurai named Nagasaki Genjiro. He decided to borrow the body of one of Genjiro's servants, a 14-year-old boy. He spoke through the boy and described to Genjiro the different ranks of kitsune and the differences between Zenko and Yakko. Is that what we were just hearing about in the last one? Good and bad kitsune. He explained that while Yakko harm humans, Zenko possess stubborn or foolish humans in order to teach them important lessons, and they only use their magic to help people. He explained that he was in fact a Zenko, merely inhabiting the boy's body temporarily. The kuko remained in control of Genjiro's servant's body for 5 days. During this time, he entered Genjiro's household and neighbors. He entertained Genjiro's household and neighbors with tales of the Genpei War and battles of Danoura and the Battle of Sekigahara. After everyone had been thoroughly entertained, the kuko departed the servant's body, but not before he used his magic to cure the disease and ailments the boy had been suffering from. Oh, that's nice. Dude just kind of like wanted to like tell his old war stories, like visiting grandpa. What was the war like, Granddad? Before he left, as a gesture of thanks for Genjiro's hospitality, the kuko presented. Wait, hold on. What is this? Before he left, As a gesture of thanks for Genjiro's hospitality, the Kuko presented Genjiro with a... Okay, I'm pretty sure it's either supposed to be left or presented, and I'm going to go with presented. The Kuko presented Genjiro with a signed calligraphic scroll containing the secret inner teachings of Hakke Shinto. Wow, what are those teachings? Please tell me, I'm curious. Let's search it up. Oh, some anime? It's anime? According to the images, it is anime. Thank you for bestowing anime upon us, Kuko. The folk faith with Taoist origins. What makes it different? I don't know. Its major tenets are the worship of nature and the dead. Ooh, spooky. Very cool. Nice. Thank you for that scroll. Does he have the scroll in his hands? No, but he has cute paws. Oh, he looks very grizzled and old. Yeah, he definitely looks like a granddad Kitsune here. Alright, I'm going to move on next to Kiko. I don't know if they are more or less powerful than Kuko. I kind of had like a lot of yokai ranks that I wasn't sure how to organize them, so I'm just going to move on to this one. Kiko. Translation, Spirit Fox. Alternate names, Senko or Wizard Fox. Habitat, usually found near Inari shrines. Diet, none. They no longer need food. Appearance. Kiko and Senko, gate kitsune who serve the Kami Inari. That is a full statement. I'm sorry, I thought there would be more. Kiko are Senko, gate kitsune who serve Kami Inari. It is the third rank of fox spirit below Tenko and Kuko. Okay, so I probably should have read this one earlier. My bad. In general, Kiko are between 500 and 1,000 years of age. They can have as many as 9 tails depending on their age. Most Kiko are white-furred foxes. Byako, black, Kokuko, gold, Kinko, and silver-furred, Ginkgo. Kiko also exist. They are spirited beings without true physical bodies and can take many different forms. Occasionally, they appear in human form, usually beautiful women. Of course, we all know by now, kitsune love to be beautiful ladies. Behavior. When a kitsune gains the rank of Kiko, it sheds its body and begins to live a spiritual existence. Their duty is to act as servants and messengers of Inari Okami, one of the Shinto's major gods. The vast majority of kitsune in Inari service are Kiko. While they are not particularly high-ranking, they do rank above the foolish wild kitsune, also known as Nogitsune or Yako. Their magical skills are much greater than those of Nogitsune as well. They are not as likely to act maliciously towards humans than lower-ranking kitsune, but neither are they as pure as the higher-ranking Kuko and Tenko. Got it. Interactions. While Nogitsune are known for taking humans' form in order to drain the life force of humans, Kiko often take human form to help people. Some of them even fall in love with humans and live with them in disguise for many years, although these relationships often end in heartbreak once the kitsune's true nature is discovered. Very sad. I feel like if my lover turned out to be a fox demon, I'd just be like, sick, I'm in. Let's do it. Fox demon all the way. One of the most well-known examples of such a kitsune is Kuzunoha, the mother of Abe no Seimei. Never heard of her. Also, it's talking a lot about Yako, so I'm wondering if Yako is a thing I can look at, but I don't see it here. I don't think it wants us to know about Yako. Okay, moving on. Oh, you know what? Can I reopen the closed tab? No, I can't. That was Kiko, right? We didn't fully look at the picture and appreciate it. Here we go. So this is a shrine here. He's got a the translation of the name is like wizard fox, and he definitely has like a wizard-like aura with his stuff glowing around him. He's got a little smile on his face. I definitely trust this dude. Absolutely. I would marry him too. Alright, let's go. Tenko. Translation: heavenly fox. Habitat: the sky. Diet: none. They no longer feed on human life force. Let me actually move my mic up a little bit. I'm sitting up a little more, so bring the mic up. Appearance. Tenko are good kitsune which possess divine powers. Of all the kinds of kitsune, they are the highest ranking. Usually, they are described as having lived for 1,000 years, possessing golden, silver, or white fur, and multiple, usually 4, bushy tails. They are spiritual beings without physical bodies, so their actual appearance depends upon the form they decide to take. They often appear as beautiful, human-like goddesses. Let's check her out. Here is her 4 bushy tails that they mentioned. She's got her little hands clutched to her chest. That's cute. And yeah, she's got her little fox ears. A lot of the other fox depictions have had like sharp nails and sharp teeth, but there's no claws, no sharp teeth. She looks very nice and pure, like a soft, kind goddess. Behavior. Kitsune are commonly described as having a ranked hierarchy, with great power and divinity being acquired as they grow older. Additionally, older and more powerful kitsune tend to be benevolent and noble, while lower-ranked kitsune tend to behave wickedly and mischievously. Upon achieving the rank of Tenko, a kitsune attains a level of power similar to a god and ceases to commit wicked deeds. So I think if you're a Tenko, you kind of look back at it and be like, oh my god, I was so wild as a teenager. Like, we were just out there pulling pranks, possessing people. But then they get older, wiser, mature a little bit. Like, YouTube prank channels are no longer funny to them. They're just, they're just nice. No more wicked deeds. Interactions. Tenko are often worshipped as gods by humans, and they are known to grant boons and favors for the people who revere them. Like other kitsune, Tenko can possess humans. When they do so, their host gains the Tenko's power of clairvoyance and is able to correctly predict any future events. Oh wow. That's kind of intense, actually. I don't want to see the future. It never went well for that So Raven, so I don't think it would go well for me if I was possessed by a kitsune. Origin. Kitsune folklore originates in the folklore of ancient China, but has been heavily adapted by Japanese writers. In China, foxes were believed to transform into human women and then use sex to drain men's life force. A 100-year-old fox would appear as a youthful young beauty, while a 1,000-year-old fox would appear as an insatiable whore? Oh my god, they are slut-shaming the foxes! The idea that upon reaching 1,000 years, a fox would cease to torment humans and become good divine spirits also goes back to Chinese folklore. Although it's worth noting that in order to achieve that rank, it must first feed off human life force for 1,000 years. Wow, okay, but if you're feeding off a human life force, can you like take just like a little nibble every day, and then you've probably only eaten like a few humans over the years? Or is it like you've killed a human a day for the last 1,000 years? What's the feeding process like? I need more information. Kitsune Monogatari, part of the Edo period essay collection Kyusensha Manpitsu, explains that kitsune are divided into 2 categories: Zenko, good foxes, and Nogitsune, wild foxes. Yeah, we know all about this. We read about them. Tenko are one of the 5 kinds of good kitsune. The others are Kinko, gold foxes, Ginko, silver foxes, Kuruko, black foxes, and Byakko, white foxes. We read about them, the white foxes, the clan of nice white foxes. Another Edo period document, Zennan Zuihitsu, defines 4 categories of Kitsune. No Kitsune are the lowest ranking. These are the most wicked and the least magical. Kiko, spirit foxes, are higher ranking Kitsune who are no longer confined to physical bodies and exist as spirits. Kuko, void foxes, are the second highest rank, possessing twice as much power as Kiko. And finally, Tenko are the top ranking Kitsune, possessing magical powers on par with the gods. And we read about all of them? I think, yeah, we read about all those. So that is it for the Kitsune lore. We read about the ranks, we learned all about it. I know more now about Fox Society than I've ever cared to know. And you might be thinking, okay, that's it, we got it. We know everything there is to know about Tamamo No Mae and what's it like being a Kitsune. And you're right, we do. But if you recall, I did mention that she is one of the 3, where is it? Control F. Yeah, she is one of the Nihon Sandai Aku Yokai, the 3 terrible yokai of Japan. And goodbye, Tenko, you're very helpful to me. And I thought it would be interesting to read about the 2 other terrible yokai of Japan, because since the rock just cracked open, if she gets out, that's one thing. But if all 3 of them gets out, that could be really, really, really dangerous. So let us take a peek very quickly at 2 of the other 3 terrible yokai. We've got Sutoko Tenno and Shuten Doji. I'm going to start with Sutoko here. We're just going to read this really quick and read this one really quick and then call it. Actually, let's read this one. Yeah, we'll say that one for last. I don't know anything about them. I'm very curious. And I don't think they met up with each other or were friends with each other, but they are like the big 3. So I want to make a point to read about them along with her. So without much further ado, let's get into it. Sutoku Tenno. Translation: Emperor Sutoku. Appearance. Let's check him out really quick. Okay, I wonder... He's got some bloody hands, some lightning coming down, a storm on the sea here, and it looks like a bunch of bloodied scrolls. It looks very scary. I'm scared of him already. Let's check it out. Appearance. Sutoku Tenno is one of the 3 most famous yokai to ever haunt Japan. Okay. After he died, he transformed. Some say into a terrible onryo. Some say into a great tengu, and inflicted his wrath upon the imperial court at Kyoto. Wow, so he was he died, he turned into a fucking ghost demon, and went straight to the emperor and was like, fuck you and your house. I'm haunting this bitch. Along with Sugawara no Michizane and Taira no Masakado, he is one of the legendary Nihon Sandai Onryo, the 3 great Onryo of Japan. Wow, so there's 3 great yokai and 3 great Onryo. I wonder if this is so Tamamo no Mae was the best of the Kitsune, and this guy's the best of the Onryo, and maybe Shuten Doji is the best of whatever he is. Maybe, we'll find out. Okay, origin. Prince Akihito was born in 1119 CE, the first son of Emperor Toba. Okay, we know Emperor Toba. He was the emperor that Tamamo no Mae was trying to suck the life force out of so that she could take over Japan. We know this dude. We read about him earlier. Okay. It's the connections are connecting. At least that was on the official registry. It was an open secret known by everyone in the court that Akihito was actually sired by the retired former emperor Shirakawa. Akihito was not well liked by his quote-unquote father, who constantly referred to him as a bastard. Ooh, yikes. His true father, Shirakawa, may have been the former emperor, but he still wielded considerable power in his retirement. When Prince Akihito was 5 and Emperor Toba was 21, Shirakawa forced Toba into retirement. Akihito became Emperor Sutoku. Okay, there's a lot going on here. I definitely need more water. I thought I could survive without another water break, but I definitely need more. And I need a BRB. I need to grab it from the other room. So, 5-second break. Don't read ahead without me. I'm back. I'm back and I have water. Delicious. Okay, let's continue reading. After Shirakawa died in 1129, retired Emperor Toba began orchestrating his trap against Emperor Sutoku. He convinced him that the cloistered life of retired emperor was much better than being the actual emperor. Okay, pretty slick. He's like, you don't even have to do anything. You just get to hang out. He suggested that Sutoku adopt Toba's son, Prince Narihito, and retire. In 1142, Sutoku finally did so. Toba oversaw the process and made sure to record that the emperor was retiring and passing the throne onto Narihito instead of his own progeny. I gotta be honest, I am not following any of these names. I feel a little bit bad about it, but they're throwing a lot at me right now, and I'm just reading, I'm not connecting the dots in my brain. This ensured that Sutoku would wield no power over the young emperor, nor would any future son ever become emperor. Ooh. Sorry, let me adjust my mic. Just a little bit. The 3-year-old Narihito became Emperor Konoe, and the retired Emperor Toba wielded all the power behind the throne. So they put a 3-year-old in charge? Oh my. Toba sent Sutoku's allies to distant provinces and filled the capital with his own allies. There was nothing Sutoku could do. Emperor Konoe remained sickly and childless his whole life. He passed away without an heir in 1155. At the age of 17, he was just a baby. Oh my god, he was so young. By this time, Sutoku had his own son. He saw an opportunity to recover his standing. Sutoku and his allies claimed that the throne should pass on to Sutoku's son. Instead, the imperial court declared that Toba's 4th son would become Emperor Go-Shirakawa. When Toba died, the following year, this dispute escalated into a miniature civil war known as the Hogen Rebellion. The war was decided in a single battle. The forces of Go-Shirakawa were victorious. Okay, I'm sort of following what's going on. There was some succession issues. They tried to put a baby in charge. Dude died without a son. Some people were like, I don't like this kid being in charge. Other people were like, I do like him being in charge. Rebellion happened. The war was decided in a single battle, and Go-Shirakawa, he's victorious. Got it. I'm on the page. I'm on the page of this page. After the Hogen Rebellion, Go-Shirakawa's forces were merciless. Those who fought against the emperor were executed, along with their entire families. Wow, that's a bold move. Former Emperor Sutoku was banished from Kyoto and forced to spend the rest of his days exiled to Sanuki province. He shaved his head and became a monk, devoting himself copying holy manuscript to send back to Kyoto. The court feared that the deposed Sutoku would attempt to curse them. It was rumored that he had bitten off his own tongue and wrote the manuscripts in his own blood? imbuing them with his hatred for the merciless imperial court? Holy shit. I mean, that is like a fucking power move if you did it, like to bite your own tongue and just like scrawl your hatred out in your own blood. Holy shit. I don't think he did that. I think he was just like a nice monk afterwards, but yeah, honestly, let me finish this paragraph. The court added insult to injury by refusing to accept any of his manuscripts. Oh no, he worked so hard on those. But whenever I think of people like writing with their own blood, I think of there was like a Kiss comic book where the members of Kiss like had their blood drawn and then they mixed the blood in with the ink. And so some issues of this comic just have like members of the band Kiss's blood in the comic, and there's this like horribly like dorky photo of Kiss blood comic of them just getting their blood drawn. I just saw it. Where did it go? Oh yeah. This is what I imagine anytime somebody talks about like writing something in their own blood, and there's been a lot of like yokai incidents of people writing with their own blood. This is what I think of. Just like Catface Ace probably zooted out of his fucking mind. The like stylized 70s cross. It's so the fucking outfits. This is what I'm thinking. When he's out there, he bit off his own tongue and wrote the manuscripts in his own blood. Yeah, here he is. His tongue's being bitten. Here's his blood being drawn so he can write it. That's him, guys. This is him. Sutakuten. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry to compare him to Peter Criss from Kiss. Something no one asked for or ever wanted to see. Okay, continuing on. In 1164, Sutoku passed away, defeated, deposed, and humiliated. He most importantly, full of rage for the imperial court. Yeah, fuck him. When news of his death reached Emperor Go-Shirakawa, the emperor ignored it. He ordered that nobody should go into mourning and that no state funeral would be held for such a criminal. Damn. Actually, another tangent I know, but I watched a movie about how when Princess Diana died, the queen was like, okay, big deal. Like, I'm sad, but we're not going to do anything. And, like, the entire country was in mourning, and they were, like, sort of turning on the monarchy, and the prime minister was like, you need to, like, take down the fucking flag at Buckingham Palace and do a little parade in the streets. And the queen's like, we don't take down flags here. Like, we've never done that for anyone in the royal family before, and we're not going to do it for her. So that's what I'm kind of, like, thinking of this, where they're like, yeah, he died, but what are we going to do about it? Nothing. We're not going to go into mourning. And anyway, the people almost turned on her, the queen. But, whatever, Tony Blair, the prime minister at the time, was like, yo, do it. And she was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And then it was resolved and people didn't hate the queen anymore. There you go, little British lore along with all your Japanese folklore. But that's just what it reminded me of. Legends. After his death, strange things began to happen. Sutoku's body was set aside while its caretakers awaited funeral instructions from the emperor. After 20 days, his body was still as fresh as it had been on the day he died. Ominous. Was it cold up there? Where did he go? He like fucked off to Sanuki province? Is that in the north of Japan? Was it like just like super icy out that day? Is that why he stayed fresh? While his coffin was taken to be cremated, a terrible storm rolled in. The caretakers placed the casket on the ground to take shelter. After the storm passed, the stones around the casket were soaked with fresh blood. You're gonna sit here and tell me he didn't expend all his blood on writing manuscripts? There was still more in there to soak the stones with? Wow. When his body was finally cremated, the ashes descended upon Kyoto in a dark cloud. Oh, that's so cool and spooky. Afterwards, for many years, disaster upon disaster struck the capital. Go Shirakawa's successor, Emperor Nijo, died suddenly at age 23. Storms, plagues, fires, droughts, and earthquakes all pounded the capital. Imperial power weakened. Clan rivalries set into motion by the Hogan Rebellion escalated. Many of Go Shirakawa's allies were killed in battles, and the country stepped closer and closer to all-out civil war. In 1180, the Genpei War broke out. In 5 bloody years, the power of the imperial court had vanished, and the Kamakura shogunate took over Japan. All of this was attributed to Emperor Sutoku's vengeance. Wow. Very interesting. So I've definitely watched that 15-minute history of Japan YouTube video that got pretty popular 10 years ago or whatever, where all the different shogunates pop up and they all fight with each other. And I've also watched a lot of a Criterion collection Japanese horror movies, I think Onibaba, and there's another one. I can't remember what it is now. But they're always talking about it's war in Kyoto. There's samurais are passing through, the shogunates are fighting. So that's what they're referring to. This right here. I don't have a lot of context for Japanese history. It's not something they go into detail about in public schools that I went to. So I just have bits of YouTube videos and movies to compare this to. But I think in Onibaba, the movie I'm specifically thinking of, it was take place around this time, around the Genpei War. Very interesting. I'm curious now. Let's look it up. I forgot I was looking at this. Don't show me Kiss. I don't want to look at them more. What time period does Onibaba take place in? Onibaba. So it's a film from the 60s. When did Onibaba come out? Blah, 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 blah. Just tell me what year did the movie take place in? During a civil war in Japan in the 14th century. I'm dumb. When was the 14th century? Oh, the 1300s? And this was, yeah, so pretty close. So this war broke out, and then a few years later, 100 years later or so, Onibaba is happening in the 14th century. Wow. I'm connecting so many dots right now. My brain is just firing on all cylinders. So if you've ever seen this movie, it's a very cool movie, by the way. Let me look at some images from it. Onibaba. It's so cool. She puts on this haunted samurai mask and can't take it off her face, and the images of this grass swaying is so hypnotic and cool to watch, and it's very spooky and fun. And it's on it's in the Criterion collection, so definitely check it out. A recommendation from me to you, cool vintage horror movie. There you go. Something else to take away from all of this instead of just lore, a movie rec to watch. Okay, and our last paragraph on Sutoku Tenno. Sutoku finally returned to the capital during the Meiji era in 1868. Wait, what? He returned? In what form did he return? As a ghost? His body? He was enshrined as a kami in the Shiramine Shrine in Kyoto. The Takaya Shrine in Kagawa also enshrines one of the stones onto which Sutoku's blood flowed during the rainstorm before his cremation. During this, there are still rumors that his curse might still linger. What? In 2012, when NHK broadcast the drama Taira no Kiyomori, an earthquake struck the Kanto region right at the moment when the Emperor Sutoku transformed into an Anryo. Oh my god. That would be so scary. Wow. Wow, you're watching like your favorite TV show that takes place in your hometown. And they're like, a monster has arrived, and then your fucking power cuts. What would you do? I'm trying to like translate it over to what it's like, the Western world, modern Western, because we don't really have as many earthquakes over here and stuff. But anyway, that's it for Sutoku Tenno. I guess we can finally see. Oh, there's all the manuscripts that he wrote in his blood. Okay. We don't see any of the stones soaked in blood, but there's the like storms and like vengeance that he rained down on the capital. Very cool. So he was like a rude dude, a super bad Onryo who just made life hell for everybody living in Kyoto. And honestly, I would too. They treated him like trash. And he is one of the big three with Tamamo No Mae, and the last of the big three is here, Shuten Doji. Let's find out more about Shuten Doji. Translation: a nickname meaning little drunkard. Legends: there are few monsters who are considered among the greatest and most evil yokai in all of Japanese folklore. The dreaded king of the Oni, Shuten Doji, is one of them. Okay, so Oni just straight up means demon. Like there are a lot of like yokai in general are sort of the like all-encompassing ghosts, monsters, creepy creatures, fox, like cute fox demon. But if you want to talk about like a demon, like if you're gonna say, if you think of it like the Western sense of a demon, that's an Oni. Bad dude. I'm already calling it. This guy is trouble. So let's take a peek at him here. He's got some horns, some tusky teeth. Looks like he's got a tiger pelt, some skulls. There, his name is Little Drunkard, so he's got his drink on. It looks like maybe some more gourds full of drinks. And looks like he's got an army of pals who are like hyping him up to keep drinking. And he's in like a cobwebby sort of area. So maybe he's like cool with living in filth. Okay, let's read some more. And I was right, because I thought, Tamamo No Mae is like the number one Kitsune, this dude's the number one Onryo, and this dude is the number one Oni. So it's the 3 different types of demon, and they are the top of their class in their subtype. Okay, so Shuten Doji was not born an Oni. There are many stories about how he came to be, but most of them say he was originally a human boy who was born over 1,000 years ago in either present-day Shiga or Toyama. His mother was a human woman, and his father was the great dragon Yamata no Orochi. Okay, I'm thinking some thoughts. Okay, I'm thinking some Naruto thoughts, Orochimaru thoughts. We had the fox demon Naruto, and now we've got the Orochimaru connection here. What is this one? I don't know how this relates to Sakura, but somebody who's smarter than me can probably put it together. Okay, so Shuten Doji. How he changed from boy to demon varies greatly from story to story, but the one popular version goes like this. There was a young boy who was supernaturally strong and abnormally intelligent for his age. Everyone around him constantly called him a demon child due to his incredible strength and wit, and he gradually became terribly antisocial and resentful of others. I would too if I was him. That's that thing where it's like teenagers who are always like hiding in their rooms, and when they finally come out, their parents are like, oh, look at the little nerd who was hiding in their room all the time. And it's like, well, why would they want to come out when you treat them like that? So yeah, I would also be antisocial and resentful of others if they called me a fucking demon all the time. I mean, not really, because me personally am like, cool, yeah, bitch, I am a demon, but I can understand how someone else would be upset about this. At age 6, I was thinking of like a resentful teenager. He was only 6. Oh no. At age 6, even his own mother abandoned him. Orphaned, he became an apprentice priest at Mount Hiei in Kyoto. Oh, Tokyo. Kyoto. I read it right the first time. Sorry. Naturally, he was one of the strongest and smartest of the young acolytes, and he grew resentful of them as well. He slacked off on his studies as a result and got into fights. He also fell into drinking, which was forbidden to monks. However, he could outdrink anyone and everyone who was willing to sit down and drink against him. Because of his fondness for alcohol, he became known as Shutendoji, the little drunkard. Okay, well that's probably better than just, hey, demon kid. Okay. Okay. One night, there was a festival at the temple, and Shutendoji showed up very drunk. He put on an oni mask and went around playing pranks on his fellow priests, jumping out from the darkness to scare them and such. Okay, this guy's just like a fun little prankster. At the end of the night, he tried to take off his mask, but found that he couldn't. Oh my god, that is literally the plot to Onibaba that I was just talking about. To his horror, it had fused to his body. That's the plot of the movie. Ashamed, scared, and scolded by his masters for being drunk, he fled into the mountains where he would no longer have to interact with other humans whom he saw as weak, foolish, and hypocritical. He lived there on the outskirts of Kyoto for many years, stealing food and alcohol from villagers and drinking vast quantities of alcohol. His banditry eventually attracted groups of thieves and criminals who stuck with him loyally and became the foundations for his gang. Oh, he found his people! I feel like this is kind of working out for him. Living in exile, Shutendoji grew in power and knowledge. He mastered strange, dark magic and taught it to his thugs. He met another demon child like him named Ibarakidoji, who became his chief servant. Over time, the young man and his gang gradually transformed into Oni, and eventually he had a whole clan of Oni and yokai thugs who prowled the highways, terrorizing the people of Kyoto in a drunken rage. He and his gang eventually settled on Mount Oe, probably Oe, where in a dark castle he plotted to conquer the capital and rule as emperor. I've talked about this on other yokai streams, but about how like people sort of invent folk tales, creatures or monsters to maybe cover up like real like things that are happening in society, or maybe like guilts they're experiencing that they can't really like, they don't want to face it, so they'll just say it's like, oh, my drunkenness is just a demon. So I'm wondering if there was just like a lot of drunk assholes in Kyoto at this time, and they're like, oh yeah, it's a gang of demons. And that's where this like folk tale was born from. Okay, so this story continues on as Shutendoji and his gang rampaged through Kyoto, capturing noble virgins, drinking their blood, and eating their organs raw? Okay. Oh my god. I was like, yeah, these drunk guys were just being assholes around town, but this is a level up from being an asshole to being like cold-blooded murder. Which I guess, you know what? Sometimes people get whipped into a fervor and they do go straight from being an asshole to being a fucking murderer. So I guess this is still quite likely. Finally, a band of heroes led by the legendary warrior Minamoto no Yorimitsu assaulted Shutendoji's palace, and with the help of some magical poison were able to assault the Oni band during a bout of heavy drinking. They cut off the drunken Shutendoji's head, but even after cutting it off, the head continued to bite at Minamoto no Yorimitsu. Because the head belonged to an Oni and was unholy, it It was buried outside of the city limits at a mountain pass called Oinosaka. The cup and bottle of poison that Minamoto no Yorimitsu used are said to be kept at Nariai-ji Temple in Kyoto. Wow. Okay, let's go back to our story here. This is probably the palace, outskirts of town. It's abandoned, right? So that's why there's cobwebs. He's got his drink, his band of thugs. It all adds up. The picture has come together. And that is the last of the three, the Nihon Sandai Aku Yokai, the three terrible yokai in Japan, to go along with Tamamo no Mae. So Tamamo no Mae breaks out, could be scary. This guy raining his plagues and storms down, even worse. This guy coming into town, pillaging, eating people raw, even more worse. From bad to worse to the worst of all. So hopefully the rock that broke open, I mean, there were multiple rocks that contained her spirit, so hopefully it was just a tiny piece of her that got out, and none of the other three dudes are gonna escape, and Japan will remain safe, and nothing terrible will happen anywhere at all. So this has been a pretty long stream, and I read a lot, and I learned a lot about Kitsune and fox demons and all the different cool spooky things going on in the past in Japan, all these crazy characters and all the bad stuff they got up to. But I had a lot of fun tonight. Thank you for joining me if you joined to watch. I do yokai streams like this pretty often where I'll just come on and read about all the different yokai. A little less structured than this. I just pick randomly and go with it. But yeah, if you like this, definitely check out this channel again for more streams like it, and support the creator of this page, Osaru-san, on Patreon. Or he has his books. The books are the Night Parade of 100 Demons, The Hour of Meeting Evil Spirits, and the Book of Hakutaku. They're on Amazon. The author is Matthew Mayer. I think he's associated with all the drawings too. So yeah, he does a lot of really great hard work on this. So definitely check his stuff out. And thank you for coming. If you came to watch, thank you for coming. Please like and subscribe if you like the live. And remember to always shoot for the moon. Goodbye. Good night.